Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 5 here at the Storechampionship in Lucerne, Switzerland at Karab. We're here at the feature table, table 1, and it is once again a ruby amethyst mirror. Player 1 on the left has won the die roll and will start the game. He just said he will change 1. Player 2 is changing 4 cards here. So the winner of this table will decide who is first seed in the top 8. That will have quite impact on the games following this round. If you're interested in the deck list, there is a link to the ink decks of this tournament in the description below, and if you have any questions, just ask them in the comment and I will get back to you. So player 1 inking a Metamim Snake, playing out a Chernobog follower, passing to player 2. Player 2 inking a Queen's Castle Mirror Chamber and also playing out a Chernobog follower here. So player 1 inks a Queen's Castle and plays out a Flynn Rider Frenemy, quests with Chernobog follower for 1 and banishes it to draw an additional card. Player 2 also decides to quest with Chernobog followers, banish it, and also plays out a Flynn Rider Frenemy here. Player 1 playing out a Sisu here for free ink and passing the turn back. Player 2 questing with Flynn Rider, so this must mean he has a fox in hand. Inks a Chernobog follower. Plays out the fox and bouncing back Flynn Rider Frenemy into his hand. So player 1 just asked player 2 how many cards he has in hand. Player 1 answered with enough. So this means that the Flynn Rider Frenemy gets triggered and he gains free lore, going up to 4. The Sisu sings here Friends from the Other Side to draw 2 additional cards, and player 1 is hardcasting Be King Undisputed. Quests also with the Flynn Rider to go up to 5 and passes the turn back to player 1 here. So player 1 will potentially set up a rabbit here to draw a card into, place out that Merlin rabbit to draw a card into potentially if he has a Maui, or he needs to find a fox, which we just saw he has in hand. Passing back to player 1. Player 1 here gaining another free lore, going up to 8. Plays out Merlin Rabbit to draw an additional card, inks a Maleficent Sorceress, and quests with the Sisu for 2 to move up to 10. Player 2 singing Friends from the Other Side with Merlin Rabbit, potentially playing out the fox he has in hand, and a 2-drop if he has the 2-drop here. We'll see. Inks a Metamim Snake, plays the fox, bounces the rabbit to hand, draws a card, challenges the Sisu and trades, and then plays out a 2-drop, the Flynn Rider Frenemy. Rabbit sinks king undisputed, and for 4 castle, and move both characters into the location. Quest for 1 goes to 12. Okay, the player is just realizing that there has been a miscount. Player 1 is actually at 11 lore here and not 12. Player 2 drawing a card here, but this looks like it will potentially be already over. There is a chance to answer here with a brawl to one of the characters, or a Maui to deal 6 to the location. Could also potentially banish the rabbit, but plays at Medusa to answer the castle, the rabbit. Player 1 draws a card, gains 2 lore, moves up to 13. Draws an additional card for Queen's Castle at the beginning of his turn, and draws 1 card for his regular turn. For 4 ink, he plays out a rabbit to draw an additional card when it enters the play. Inks a Maleficent, plays out a Chernobog follower, and moves the entire squad into the location, questing with the Flynn Rider up to 14 lore here. So the priority here needs to be answering the castle, so a Maui or a Fox is a must-have to answer all these potential card draw from Lady Tremaine. It looks like he doesn't have it, so he also has a potential play of be prepping here. So be prepared here. Player 1 gets to draw a card of rabbit and moves up to 16. This is likely almost the end of the game. For 5 ink, he plays out a Maui, and for 1 he moves Maui into the Queen's Castle location. Passes here to player 2. 16 lore gained, 2 lore still missing. Potentially in his turn if the castle doesn't get answered. Player 2 digging, trying to find the Maui or a Fox play to answer this castle. B King undisputed and passes the turn. So 18 lore here for player 1. And potentially can just play out a threat and move it to the location, which he does. Player 2 now needs to answer both cards. We'll see if he can't, and he can't. So we'll move to game 2, where player 2 will start. We saw the powerhouse of the Queen's Castle right there. And yeah, we'll see you in the next game. Welcome back. We're moving into game number 2. Starting player will be player 2 on the right side of your screen. Player 1 on the left is on the draw. Changes 4 cards here in his mulligan. And player 2 also decides to put 4 cards away here. So we'll see how fast out of the gates the players will be. if they can have a more early decisive game like we saw with the Flynn Rider, or if it goes into a really grindy game like we saw in a game before in round 4. So let's see. Player 2 inking Madam Snake, passing the turn. Player 1 inking Chenabok follower to play out a Chenabok followers, passing the turn back. So we see player 2 has a broom in hand that looks like it's a fox. So inks Madam Fox, plays out a Flynn Rider frenemy here on turn 2. Player 1 quests with Chenabok follower, inks a Madam Snake and plays out a Madam Snake. So no Lorcana from the Flynn Rider frenemy. Inks a Brawl, plays out a Chenabok follower and a Magic Broom, and passes the turn here. Still 0 lore gained from both players. Player 1 playing out a Maleficent, inking a Madam Fox, draws a card with Maleficent and gains 1 lore through Madam Snake. Player 2 questing with the Chenabok follower and banishing it to draw a card. Inks a Maleficent, quests for 1 with Magic Broom and plays out a rabbit to banish the broom, draws 1 card for the rabbit and 1 card for the banishment of the broom. And passes the turn back to player 1. Player 1 inking a Flynn Rider frenemy, playing a Merlin Rabbit, questing here for 1, moving up to 3 lore. Player 2 drawing here in turn 5. Could potentially play out a Maui to have the biggest power on board, but chooses to sing a Merlin. With Merlin Rabbit sings Friends from the other side to draw 2 additional cards. Highest strength currently on the board is 3 from player 1. So a Fox would do it, Maui would do it, or even Sisu would do it. And speaking of Sisu, there is the Sisu. Player 2 inking a Merlin Goat, playing out a Chernobog's follower and passing the turn here. So 3 to 2 lore currently. Has some decisions to make here. He's a Chenabok follower, plays a Maui, Snake into the Merlin Rabbit, player 2 draws a card, draws this is the card, Merlin Rabbit quests and also Maleficent, so 5. And he has 5 cards in hand, so both the Sisu and the Maui here 6 power, so the trigger of Flynn Rider won't happen. So 5 to 2 lore currently here in game 2. So player 2 is thinking about clearing the board, it looks like, with king undisputed. So has a potential line here of banishing snake with, I guess, Chatterbug follower, banishing rabbit with the Sisu, and playing out king undisputed. Banishes the rabbit as predicted. Now we'll see if he chooses to banish the snake, which he should do. He's scared of friends from the looks of it. So challenges the Maleficent, leaves the snake on board. And has still 5 ink open. Plays a Merlin, rabbit to draw an additional card. Could ink and play a snake to protect his Sisu, potentially. Or if he needs card draw, he could play the snake to bounce the rabbit he just played to draw an additional card. So prefers the card draw and draws a card through the bouncing of Merlin rabbit. So snake into the Sisu here. Snake getting inked by player 1. Player 1 playing out the Queen's Castle Mirror Chamber, moving Maui to it, and playing out a Chatterbug follower for the 6 ink he has. Player 2 drawing here a card, has to find a potential answer to this castle in the long run. Currently still 5 to 2 lore, 5 for player 1, 2 lore for player 2. Plays out the Merlin rabbit to draw an additional card here. Has to think about the proceeding of his plays. Inks friends from the other side to hardcast friends from the other side to draw 2 additional cards. Most likely will challenge the Queen's Castle with the snake to deal it the free damage that is needed to start the clearance of this castle. Passes the turn. So player 1 going up to 7 lore through the Queen's Castle, drawing 1 for Queen's Castle and 1 for turn. Manages the snake, 3 damage on the Maui through that challenge. Plays a brawl to banish the rabbit here. Inks Sisu, moves Medusa, oh sorry, there was a Medusa on the brawl, to the location. Quests with Chatterbug follower, moving up to 8 lore. So most likely this Flynn will take out the Maui here to deny a card draw, or if there is a fox, he will try to banish the castle right here. So we'll see if he has an answer and what the answer here is in his decision. We see far right there is a be prepared in hand, which can be quite good after answering a lot of these castles. Still thinking about it. So we see there is a goat, there is a be prepared. I cannot see what other cards he currently has in hand, but we have to keep in mind it's currently 8 lore for player 1 on the left side and 2 lore for player 2 on the right side. So he has to get some board control, and potential, like I said, is banishing the Maui with the Flynn if you don't have a rush character, and play either a Tremaine or some value that could help banish the castle in the next play. So he plays out the rabbit, looks like the value play, so he should challenge this Maui here with that Flynn rider. Oh, we see he just picked up, we just see he picked up a Maui, which is quite helpful. Should play out here, I think, another value piece, ideally the goat we saw earlier, to have 2 characters on board. Inks a goat and has an additional goat. Okay, so he goes to 3 lore and passes the turn. So player 1 moving up to 10 lore at the beginning of his turn, draws 1 card through the castle and 1 for his beginning of turn for a regular draw. So there's 7 ink potentially. Plays for 6 Medusa, banishing rabbit. Sings a king undisputed. So player 2 draws a card and gains a lore up to 4, and moves the Medusa into the castle as well. So Maui into Queen's Castle, taking care of that problem. And potentially best play here is either ink and gain more card draw through a rabbit, or I think, yeah, he will try to set up if he has a castle for castle play. So just get some value here, and if those 2 Medusa's quest, try to get rid of them. So a Merlin Rabbit would be good, or a goat. Chooses to play King Undisputed, so 1 Medusa gets banished here. 5 cards in hand. Player 1 questing for 1, moving up to 11 lore, playing out a Maleficent Sorceress to draw a card, playing a snake to bounce the Medusa. Inks, it looked like a Maui and passes the turn. That Maui can be quite risky because we haven't seen any castles yet from player. Oh, I think there's 2. Oh, player 2 has 2 castles in, and the Maui just got inked. So this could be quite devastating for player 1 here. 11 to 4 lore here. The board pretty much clean. Player 2 choosing to sing King Undisputed through a Maui to get rid of the Maleficent Sorceress that gets chosen by player 1. Plays a Medusa to take care of the snake. So we saw player 1 has a beat prep, I think, in hand. Player 2 draws 2 cards. So there is a potential that he will prep if he has a prep here. Could also just try to gain ball control again. Plays a Lady Tremaine. Maui gets banished here. inks a Flynn Rider for enemy and plays out a fox. Player 2 playing out also Lady Tremaine, banishing the Madame Fox and playing out a castle. Questing for 1, moving up to 5 lore here. Here, 1 inking a goat, playing a Medusa, banishing a Lady Tremaine, and dancing plays or hardcast Viking Undisputed to banish the other Medusa. So player 2 will gain 2 lore, moving up to 7. Could prep here if interested, and does so. So I'm not sure, plays the rabbit as well. I'm not sure if he realized that most Mauis got inked and are gone. Just an additional card. Passes the turn, moves up to 9 lore, and also the fox. So there is not a lot of answers here, and he has another B prep. Passes here to player 1. He finds that looks like a goat, so moves up to 12 through the goat. Passes 11 here for player 2. There's another B prep, so 13 for player 1 and 11 for player 2. Player 2 playing out here Pegasus 3/1 evasive and passing the turn. Player 1 playing a rabbit, drawing a card, finds a Maui, dealing 6 to the Queen's Castle, drawing an additional card through the Queen's Castle and gaining 2 lore up to 13. So 13 both. Potentially could another, if he has another B prep, he can B prep again to answer here, or try to banish the Maui if he has his own Maui. So he's currently thinking about what to do here. Ask opponent how many cards in hand. There are currently 2 in his hand. 13 lore to 13 lore. Player 2 has, if I see it right, I think 4 cards in hand. Sorry, he only had 3. For 3 ink, he plays 1 out of these cards. That is a Sisu. Quests with the Pegasus up to 14. And looks like he will pass the turn here. Doesn't want to overextend. Yeah, he just passed the turn. So this Maui will take out this castle. Questing for 1 with Rapid, going up to 14, both. Plays out the B prep to draw a card and passes the turn. So this is quite a risky play here. If player 2 has another castle. Player 2 playing out the Peter Pan Shadow Fighter and passing the turn. Plays a Brawl to banish the Peter Pan. And plays out the Flynn Rider Frenemy and plays a Goat, moving up to 15 lore here. So 15 to 14. Medusa targeting Flynn Rider. getting played. And if there is a castle, I think that should be almost game. We'll see. And he has the castle, yeah, that is brutal. Also has ink to move Medusa to the location here. So the goat, a high chance that he just needs to swing into the location. Top draw is a rabbit into a Maleficent. And passes the turn, so 15 to 16, potentially 17 through the Medusa. Currently calculating how much ink. I think there's another Queen's Castle I see there in his hand. So that must mean he has potentially a prep in hand. So he can, it looks like he can quest, play castle and prep. 15 to 17 lore currently here. If there is a prep, I think this should be game. Not much he can do. Plays a fox, banishing the rabbit, the goat. The one moving up to 16 lore. Plays the Medusa, targeting probably the rabbit here. So player one draws a card here and moves Medusa into the location. Sings a brawl, sings a friend from the other side, brawl and a rabbit in hand. We saw a bee prepared and I think another friend from the other side. So he has a total of, that's 11 preps. Plays a castle and goes, so 19. 19 to 16 here. Close game. There is the second castle. And the Maui to make a dent into his castle. But as long as it stays alive, it doesn't really matter here. For player one, he's looking for the goat. Gaining 2 to 18. Let's see if he found the goat. That is not a goat, that is a Merlin rabbit. Draws a card. And I think, yeah, that is game. So 18 to 22. Here in game 2, and we'll see you back in game 3 with the decider who will be first seed in this after this Swiss round, and we'll see. So welcome back to game 3 here. Round 5, last Swiss round of the tournament, and we'll see. If you're interested in the deck list, there is an Inkdex link in the description, which you can follow, where you see all the deck lists being played in this tournament. For player 1 getting mulliganed, he is also the starting player. Player 2 still deciding. He's thinking. getting 3 new cards. So mulligan 4 and mulligan 3. Player 1 on the left side will be starting player for game 3 here. And it looks like he has no 1 or 2 drop. We saw, if I saw it correctly, a prep, 2 friends, 2 snake, Maleficent. So this means this will go if player 1 has a really fast starting hand, if player 2 has a really fast starting hand, player 1 will be quite a lot of trouble. So if you see a Flynn start here, potentially we could see a 6 lore lead. Inks a Madam Mim Snake and passes the turn. Player 2 also inks a Madam Mim Snake and passes back here. Madam Mim Snake into ink from player 1. Player 2 should play out the Flynn Rider if he has it here, which he does. So we see, oh, there has been picked up a Maleficent, so that will probably get played. Draws a card through the Maleficent, so lore can be denied here. But let's see if there is a Sisu potentially here, and there it is. So this will be quite hard to beat. If he has a B King undisputed, I think that is an option to play here. Sings friends from the other side to draw 2 additional cards. And I think we saw a king. Yes, that is a king undisputed. So potentially sacking here, the banishing here will or should be the Flynn Rider. But if he wants to go for a fox line, I would choose the Sisu. But Sisu here, a lot better quests for 2, sings friends. So we'll see what the decision here is. There's a Peter Pan Shadow Fighter getting played, banishing the Maleficent, inks a snake, and doesn't or forgets to quest with, gets to quest sadly with the Sisu. Player 1 here playing another Maleficent to draw a card. So we're looking what player 2 will play here. Could potentially sing the friends if he has one with the Peter Pan Shadow, but quest for 3, moves up to 3 lore, brawls away the Maleficent. So 3 to 0 lore currently. Inks a fox and passes the turn. So inks a brawl, plays a Maui that trades itself into this Sisu to reduce the tempo a bit, which will help Florina a bit, but not too much. Player 2 finds here a Merlin Rabbit from top and also finds a friend, so that is quite a good pickup there. Can sing that right away to draw 2 additional cards and should be able to set up quite cleanly here. Plays a Pegasus. We also saw there's another friends in hand, so if that Peter Pan's Shadow Fighter will survive, there's a B prep chance here and it resolves, so we don't have to talk about that anyway. Player 2 gets to draw a card for the banishing of the Merlin Rabbit and has here the chance to play out full tempo. Chenabog follower into snake into Chenabog follower and passes the turn. Player 1 playing out here Lady Tremaine, and player 2 chooses to banish Madam Mim Snake through the trigger. Chenabog follower, so 4 lore gains totally, and draws a card. Plays out a Medusa to answer the Lady Tremaine. So 4-0 lore. King undisputed. There, the Madam Medusa gets banished, and Finrider gets played. For 4 ink, he plays out a Merlin Rabbit to draw an additional card. Inks a Chenbok follower to play out a Sisu. So the Sisu here is at 5 power still, so Finrider doesn't really do that much. Play 1, moving to 1 lore, and could potentially be prep again, or has also a fox in hand, we'll see. That is a fox. Plays friends. Inks a card and probably plays a Flynn again. Rabbit gonna sing Friend from the Other Side on player 2's turn. Let's see what decision here is from player 2. Want to follow up with? It's a fox, bouncing the rabbit to draw an additional card. Plays out a rabbit to draw a card. Quest for 2 up to 6 with Sisu, and passes the turn. Inks a Chenbok follower here, plays 2 castles, and the fox will banish the Sisu here and will survive since he has only 1 card in hand. Moves the Flynn Rider into the castle on the left side. So potentially if player 2 has a Maui here, this could be detrimental to player 1, but if the risk is paying off, he has a good chance to get a lot of lore here. But of course there's a Maui. Maui and Merlin Rabbit will answer this Queen's Castle, and I'm guessing the fox will hit the other castle for another 4. So this should potentially be the breaking point for player 1. He has 1 card in hand. Player 2 has at least he has 4 or 5 cards in hand. So I think this is potentially gains 2 lore. Quests for 2 goes up to 5. Draws 1 card for Merlin Rabbit. Player 2 just asked if player 1 has enough lore here, but he has. Be prepared cost 7, Chenbok follower 1, and moving the character into the location also only costs 1 lore, 1 ink here. So 5 to 6 lore. Player 2 has 7 cards in hand. I think this will potentially be a game. Here there's not much player 1 can do against it. He played risky, but it didn't pay off. And player 2 can play out here. Gain control has more answers. More options to find and to gain control of that. So banishes the castle before he draws a card in turn. Judge on the sideline just reminded him that he needs to draw a card before he can do that, but that is fine. So there's 2 cards, I think, in player 1's hand. Player 2 with 7 7 to 6 lore. So potentially there's a castle, and we saw King Undisputed maybe as an option, or a second castle. That is great here. We have to check how many cards he has in hand. If he can ink a card, he can reduce the power here of the Sisu, which will help quite a lot. Plus he can move the Madame Medusa into the castle. It looks like he has four cards in hand. Yeah, he cannot. Player 2 here giving up, and that's the game. See you in the playoffs.